5 I have. Okay, so are you able to look into my slides now?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
So let me proceed slowly so that others can also join, right? So in today's class, we will be discussing the first module of industrial engineering and management. So your first module is going to be on introduction to macro and microeconomics. Okay, so here I have splitted my discussion into two parts. My first discussion will be related to macroeconomics and microeconomics. What is macroeconomics and what is microeconomics? I will be telling you what is the difference also. Next, we will proceed with demand and supply. So next, I will proceed with what are the determinants of demand and supply. Then we will discuss about elasticity of demand. So this is will be for the first half of the module 1. The second half of the module 1, we will focus on demand forecasting in short term and long term. So here we may be doing few problems related to forecasting techniques, both short term and in long term. So without further delay, we will start with the first half of the module and let's proceed slowly. If you have any doubt, you can just talk me then and there and you can ask any questions related to the discussion at any point. Okay. So before entering into the concept of macro and microeconomics, I would like to explain you what is economics. Okay. Let's keep it let's keep our discussion very short. What is that? So economics. So whenever we say utilization of resources, for example, or utilize or spending your money, what is will be our advice of our mentors will be like you spend economically, you spend judicially. So whenever you have some resources and whenever you want to spend that in a proper way without any wastage, or you should know where you have to spend and how you have to spend, how much you have to spend, correct? So whenever you have scarcity, then you will always think about spending the money or the resources, I mean the raw materials or anything for that matter, judicially, even our time. So when you have your exams the next day or the next week, we try to prepare for the exam utilizing the time what is available with us in a economical way. So that's why the word economics arises. So what is the definition, right? As per the definition, it is going to be a social science concerned with the way the society chooses to employ its limited resources, and it always try to use the alternate ways to produce or to produce some goods, or it may be in the service, okay, for the future and the present consumption. So this is the definition of economics. So how you are going to spend your resources to manufacture a product or to produce or for a service activity without affecting the future generation, to meet out the needs, their needs. So this is called as economics. So it's very simple, right? So you have some resources, how well, how much economically you are going to spend that uh, resources, that is called as economics. So that is just simple as that. Okay, so that's why whenever we say we, that is like budgeting. So you do some budgeting activity to manufacture a product in a by consuming less resources. Okay, so before entering into the next slide, I will like to say one important, I mean two important things. You may note it down. So for people who know, it's okay, but for few people who are not aware of this, I will just this is just a small thing. Okay, so industries are normally classified into two types. Okay, industries are normally classified into two types. The first one we call it as product-based industry. Product-based industries are what? Which manufacture some products which you can physically feel in your hands. That is called as product-based industries. For example, I am going to manufacture a cell phone. I may manufacture a car. I may manufacture a bike. I may manufacture even a water bottle. I can manufacture a fan, whatever things you can physically buy from your market, that we call as, and the manufacturers of that we call as product based industries or product based organizations. And there are other the next is we call as service based industries. What are the service based industries? For example, your schools, your colleges, your theaters, your resorts, right, which makes you to the services which you can feel, not physically, but you can experience it, right? You can experience it. You go to a hotel, you experience their hospitality. You travel in a bus, then that is also a service based sector, because you just use the service to reach from one station to another station, and that's why they ask you how was our service provided. Please rate us in the scale of 1 to 5. In case of Amazon or Flipkart, the e-shopping portals, they ask you how was your experience in buying a product from us. So this is how we classify industries into two types basically. One is product based, the other one we call it as service based. So are you clear? There are
Sir,
two types. Yeah.
what about a software? Will that be a product or a service?
See, that's again that's a nice question. That's a very nice question. Software companies we always considered as service oriented industries. Okay, but again there is some product coming out of that company. Okay, there is a product coming out of the company, like in terms of software. So all software companies though are not service based. Okay, but basically we classify software industries into service based industries because they try to give some service to the service provider. Like they like banking sector is there. For the bank they make a software for easy transaction. So again the bank is a service based industry. Okay, the bank is a service based industry. So we call software industries or more or 100 or 99% we call them as service based industries. But there are some companies which makes products like soft, like take say for example your SolidWorks. Okay, that is a product which you can use it. Okay, for the company then they're coming out with some products which customers are able to use for to make something, right, to make something out of that, then we can call them as product based industries. But generally if you ask me, they are classified as service based industry. Okay, so that's they are going to be service based industry. Okay, so let's see one by one. Okay, so are you clear? There are two types of industries. One is product based, the other one is going to be service based. Are you clear?
Yes, sir.
Are you clear?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
thank you, thank
Yes,
you,
sir.
thank you.
Yes,
So,
sir.
yeah, please be interactive because this is like a one-way show, right? So only if I get the response, I will be happy and I will know whether you understood or not. Okay, thank you. So next, we will be discussing about the classification of economics, as I told you. So I'm just keeping all the things very simple here. So in 1930, there's one man called as Ragnar Frisch. He classified economics into two things. One is called as macro, and another we call as micro. This macro and micro are Greek words. Micro means, as you know, very small, and macros means large in scale, right? So micro is small and macro is large. So now you know there are economics. We have macro and micro. Macro is large and micro is less. Okay. So now you know what is economics, and you know what are the classification of economics: macroeconomics and microeconomics. Okay. What is this macroeconomics? I told you macro is large. Okay, when your economics or when you're going to deal with studies which is going to be larger in scale, then we call that as macroeconomics. For example, when you calculate the GDP of the nation, that is gross domestic product of the nation, or for a group of countries, then we call as that is macroeconomics. Then if you're computing the national income, NI, national income, then it's going to be more numbers by size, or by the volume it's going to be bigger. Then we call this macroeconomics. Then we have per capita income. PCA means per capita income, like how much and each and every individual in a country is earning. That is called as per capita income. And that is also, imagine a country like India, we have a huge population, so our PCI is, the computation of PCI is going to be very big. So that's why we call it as macroeconomics. So how people investment, what is the employment rate of a country, what is the cash inflow and outflow of a country. So that's all we call it as macroeconomics. So it is going to be a study for the entire economy in terms of total amount of goods and services. So product based and service based. That's why total amount of goods and services, what is the total income earned, how much how much of the population of the people are employed for to produce useful resources, and how generally the price behavior happens in the country. So if you're studying all these things, we call that as macroeconomics. From the small picture what I gave you below the slide will explain you what is macro and micro in a simple format. So macro, you're considering the whole country or sometimes the whole world. Then micro is going to be small, specific. So that just opposite of macroeconomics, correct? So microeconomics, we are going to study only about a particular firm. Like say for example, what is the budget for VAT? What is the budget for your house? What is the budget of the company which you are going to work? So it's going to be a firm based, industry based, or it's going to be a commodity based. Commodity industries. Commodity industries are also a service based industry, but it's different. What is commodity? Can anyone tell? Commodity trading. Have you heard of this word? Commodity trading.
Sir,
Oil,
goods
actually.
or services which are traded from one requirement to the required person from another person.
Very good. So normally we call this oil, petrol, and sometimes gold in papers. Gold in papers. We have gold papers like bonds. So those are things commonly fall under commodity trading. Okay. So this commodity trading will have high fluctuation in their prices. So that's why dealing it separately. It is commodity trading. Okay, so as you all know, I mean, as I could, it's clearly visible that from the examples and what you shared and the definition what you shared, microeconomy means it's going to be very specific. So microeconomics is a study of the economic behavior of individual sector or sometimes individual itself, firm, industry, and the distribution of production, income, and all these things are going to be the greater influence. So macro means large, micro means small. So I hope you got it. So it's very clear, right? Very simple. Macroeconomics and microeconomics. Macro, large in scale, micro, small in scale. Large for the country, for the state, like that. Micro is for the individual or for the factory or for the organization what you're going to deal with. So that's called as microeconomics. So I hope you understand these three concepts. What is economics, what is macro, what is micro, and we also know now we also know that what is product based industries and what are service based industries. Hope you remember these 5 points now.
Yes, sir.
Very good.
Yes.
Thank you. So
So,
now
could you explain
yeah.
the difference again between a commodity and a product?
Yeah, commodity, that's what I told you. It's very easy. Commodity means like say price of the petrol or the diesel or the gold. These things you see on silver sometimes, silver also, right? So you see in news always you will hear about this, the price of the petrol has raised, the price of the diesel has raised, and they say the price of the petrol is reduced by 0.2 paisa, and sometimes they say it has raised by plus 63 paisa. So these things are highly will have high fluctuations in the market, right? The prices will rise and drop. We don't know the reason for this, correct? Actually, we don't know the reasons. What we may say the crude oil price has raised, but now the crude oil price in the by the OPEC nation is very less, right? Right? But still we pay more money for the petrol or diesel in the country. So that is we can't predict this market. So these are like they trade this virtually. Mostly this trading will happen virtually, depending upon the volatility in the market. So those things we call as commodity. Commodity means like these are going to be, without these things, uh, the economic cannot be functioning basically. So without petrol or without diesel or without gold, the economy is will depend only upon these commodities. These are essential commodities to run the economy in and out. So that's why we call this as commodity trading. Like we will explain you while we move on, you will be able to understand what is what. Okay, thank you. I hope I have answered your question.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. So now we will see about what is economics. I told we are classified. So microeconomics and macroeconomics. Here in this slide, I'm giving you the differentiation of both the things. Let's first focus on macroeconomics. So macroeconomics will I told you it's going to be large in scale. For example, national income, aggregate consumption of consumption of your of the people. What is the national savings? Aggregate investment, national output, aggregate expenditure. What do you mean? Again, total expenditure. What are you going to make? What is the general price level, inflation or deflation? Aggregate employment and unemployment activity. I mean, total number of employment and unemployment in the country. How much you export and how much you import. So these all fall under macroeconomics. So now moving to your left, I have microeconomics. So it's going to be individual. So mostly it will be depending upon individual, like individual income. What is the individual consumption, individual saving, like how much you invest, how much what is the output of the individual firm, what is the output of the industry, what is your expenditure, individual expenditure, what is the price of any product or the factor, what is the demand and supply of the individual people, what is your employment and unemployment rate of the particular industry, how much you export or how much you import for the factory. So all these things comes under microeconomics, and the other side we have macroeconomics. So macro, there is a difference. Okay, so micro deals with individual, means the size, the volume of account what you are going to handle is going to be very small. Macro is in a larger scale for the country or for the state or for the globe. So this is the difference between macro and microeconomics. Hope you understood this difference. Okay, got it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Let's think. So this slide, please note down this slide in your notebook. So this is what we are going to deal with the toward in this industrial engineering syllabus. What is economics? By as an industrial engineering using economics, what are the things you can tell? You can tell what to produce, okay, what to make in your company. In other words, how much to produce, how to produce, from for whom to produce, who gets these decisions, right? Who can make decisions in a company? What to make. So depending upon the market, you will decide what to make, what to produce in your company. Then you should know how much to produce. You can't keep on producing. You should know how much to produce. That's very, very important. Then how to produce, that you have to decide, because using the resources, how to produce, that is very, very important. Then for whom to produce, who will be your targeted customers, that is very, very important. So for whom to produce, then generally if anything happens, who is going to be liable, or who is going to take the decisions. That's what, who gets to make this decision, that is also very, very important. So what, how much, how, for whom, and who is going to take the decision, who is going to be the decision making authority. So that's what, how much, how, what you are going to produce. Say for example, you should understand this. As we move on, you should understand these words. What to produce, that is very, very important in this pandemic situation. What to produce? Can anyone answer?
Masks and sanitizers.
Very good.
Skills.
Sanitizers, mask, and if you say, if we go to other countries, it is going to be toilet papers.
PPE kits.
Yeah, PPE, personal
Yes.
protective equipments, right? So very good. So these are the things what you are going to produce. Do you know how much to produce now? How much to produce? Say for example, sanitizers. How much you are going to produce?
It depends on how the suppliers are, whether they are hoarding their stock or
Depends
whether
on the
they are
demand.
selling off quickly.
It's not. Yeah. Okay. It's not.
It depends on the
Depends on the
targeted
demand.
market.
Depends on the requirement.
Depends upon the requirement of the customers. Okay. How much to produce? We don't know actually. It may be lakhs.
So, so, so it
Yeah.
also depends on the company, right? I mean,
Yeah, when you are in a company, you know how much to produce. So that's what, how much to produce. This is what we are going to target in this module. Okay, how to produce, that depends upon the raw materials or the resources what is available. That is, how to produce depends upon three things: men, material, and machine. What is the how much people you have to produce that? What are the resources you have? Do you have the facilities to manufacture the product? In this case of discussion, we are having sanitizer as the example. Then for whom to produce, you know who is the customer. Now everyone is the customer for your product. For this exam, for this matter, sanitizer or personal equipment, it will be mostly hospitals. Then now who gets to make these decisions? Okay, that depends upon the that will vary depending upon the size of the organization or the hierarchy what you follow in your organization. So that is what it's going to determine this. So now you know very well what is that we are going to produce, how much we are going to produce, how we are going to produce, and for whom we are going to produce, and who gets the decision to produce. So this is clear, right? This picture is clear.
Yes, sir.
Okay, if this is clear, you will understand the other concepts what you are going to discuss in the module very easily. Okay, so if you have any doubt, I'm ready to explain. Just look into the slide. If you have any doubt, you can ask me. I'm giving you 2 seconds. If anyone is not able to understand this, I will wait for a few seconds. You can ask a question. I will be happy to answer you. Okay, this silence is for is that I can take it as you understand everything or you didn't understand anything. How to take it?
Understood.
Understood, sir.
Understood, yes, sir.
Thank you,
Understood.
thank you. Okay, then happy. I'm happy. Then okay, let's move to the next slide. So my next question is how market is defined. You already you gave me the answers, very good answers. It depends upon the buyer and the seller. A market is a place where this buyer and where the seller are involved. There's going to be a transaction of 3 things. What are they? In a market, there is going to be a transaction of few things. What are they? Can anyone try to answer this question?
Money, material.
Product.
Money, material. One more.
Partnership.
Service.
Come again.
Service.
Okay, that may be product or a service. Okay. One more.
Partnership.
Machines.
Come again.
Machine, sir.
No machines. Market, we don't speak about machine. Market is where trading happens, right? You sell your product, so there's going to be a transaction of products, product and service. Sometimes if I mean products, you take it as product and service also. Okay, so product or service is going to be exchanged. Okay, money is going to be transferred from one account from the from the buyer to the seller. One more, there is going to be a transfer of information. Okay, there's going to be transfer of information, that may be the cost of the product or how the product is going to work, etc., about the product or about the costing. So there's going to be information. That means basically what I'm going to say is there's going to be an information flow, cash flow, your product physical or a service oriented or a product oriented flow is going to happen. Exchange of services or product. Okay, so there are 3 types of flow now: product, information, and cash. Okay, or the money. So this is called as, this is market. So where all these 3 things we are going to there's going to be a transaction of these 3 things. So let's come to the important point of today's discussion: demand. Okay, so you told me which product will have more demand. You already answered this question. Which product is going to have high demand during this situation?
Sanitizers.
Sanitizers, PPE,
Masks.
mask. Okay, we know all these things. So we know, that means you know what is demand. You know the answer for the demand. Okay.
Higher requirement of a commodity or a product.
Very good, very good. So
Yes, requirement.
okay, I'll ask you now. I'll ask you one more question. During summer season, which product will have more demand?
Ice cream.
Ice cream.
AC.
Okay. AC. Okay. Next.
Talcum powder.
Talcum powder. Okay. During winter. During winter, which
Sweaters and blouses.
Jackets.
Geysers.
Sweaters.
Heaters, blowers.
Okay. During rainy season.
Umbrellas. Raincoats.
Okay. So okay. Next, I'll ask you one more question. There is going to be a Diwali like festival or some celebration is going to happen. Which products will have more demand?
Sweets.
Sweets.
Crackers.
Clothes.
Then
New clothes.
new clothes, garments, right? So very good. So now you know what is mean by demand. Okay. Next, I ask you one question. Okay, so there is a phone, Apple phone. I have a phone Apple, and I have a phone Pineapple. Okay, you got it? I have a phone by name Apple, which you all know. Then I have my own brand, Pineapple. Okay, so which phone you will buy?
The well-known one,
Apple.
Apple.
Apple. You don't want Pineapple?
No.
Sir, because we do not know about it.
It's my product, man. I'm selling to you. You don't believe in me.
Specifications and
Specifications, because you know what is the brand, and you'll pay only for the brand which you feel that you are ready to pay, and you have a confidence in that product. Okay, that's the difference. So when the demand is, what demand is, not like that, it's not, it cannot be artificially created. If it's created, it will have a short life only. So demand is one where the customer is willing to pay for the product or for the service what he or she receives. Okay, the customer should be ready to pay. He should be willing to pay for a product. That is what we call as demand, or there should be a willingness, or there should be a you should be motivated to pay, or you should be interested in buying the product. That is created by marketing people, of course, but still, that's why I tell you, the same specification of Apple is in Pineapple. Okay, there is a Apple, there's a Pineapple phone, but you will buy Apple, you won't buy Pineapple. I tell both are same, but still people will buy only Apple. Okay, imagine I have a phone with the Apple symbol, I have a phone with Pineapple symbol. Okay, both are like looking the same, like both are like twins, but still people will buy only Apple, because they are ready, they know the product specification, they know what is the brand value. They know basically the brand value is how it develops. It depends upon the quality of the products. Okay, so that's why that is called as demand. Okay, so when I say demand, you should read the second line of the slide, that is, holding all other factors constant. This is what an increase in price of a good, or of a goods or a service, will decrease the demand, and vice versa. Okay, this is a very very important statement. You should try to understand. When the price of the product is high, the demand for the product will, when the price is high, the demand will.
sir, but even if they increase the price of sanitizers and masks, we are buying it, no, sir, because it is our desperate necessary.
That's what, sir. There are special cases. I am not telling you. Generally, okay.
But
If I say,
it is
yours is a nice question. Yours is a nice question. I understand that. I understand that. Say, for example, petrol price is 80 rupees. Do we say no? No, I'll use my cycle, or I'll walk?
No.
Sometimes we can't. So there are some goods which, even if the price is high, we are supposed to take it. In this pandemic situation, you can't say I won't wear mask, because the cost of mask is 13 or 15 rupees in the market. We can't. Otherwise, we'll find alternatives. That's why we have sometimes alternatives are there. When you can't able to pay for the petrol, you start using your bicycle. When even the bicycle price is high, we are going to try to walk. So there are always some alternatives are there. Everyone is not able to afford for an Apple iPhone, but we also use Samsung or OnePlus or Pineapple, like the example what I gave you, right? We are trying. There are always some alternate goods. We will look into this alternate products or alternate demand in the upcoming slide, upcoming discussion. So generally, this is what we know. Whenever the prices of product goes up, the demand for the product comes down. You accept this statement? This is what generally happens.
Yes, sir.
I am selling say for example, I am selling a phone. Let's take the example of iPhone itself, the iPhone, Apple iPhones. The people were able to buy when the Apple iPhone is 36,000, 40,000. People were ready to buy, like a model number iPhone 6, 7. People were happy to buy. Of course, it was costly at that time, but people are still. They thought, you could see people buying 6 and 7 or 8. I don't know whether 8 is released, 9, right? So 6 and 7 were easily, they had a very good demand in the market also. But when Apple iPhone reached 64,000, 1 lakh, 1 lakh 20,000, like that, the sales of Apple products came down and Samsung overtook the market. So whenever the cost of the product is high, the demand for the product will come down. This is the general rule. Okay, now let's move on. Okay, so as I told you, the effective desires of a customer to buy the product is called as demand. So only when the customer is willing to pay for the product and is willing to purchase your product, that is called as demand. What is this desire? I mean, okay, the desire for the commodity, the willingness to buy, the purchase power to buy. I'll give you an example. Like desire, even I wanted to buy a camera. For example, let's say Nikon or Canon. I want to buy a camera. For a long time, I wanted to buy a camera. For example, I have the willingness to buy now. I have a desire for a product, that is camera. I am very much willing to buy the product, but the next point you should take into account, the purchase power to buy the product. Will I be able to buy a camera for, say, for example, like 40,000 or 60,000 in the market? Okay, I will be able to pay because I have a salary, decent salary, or for as an individual I can able to buy the product. But the next thing, what I'm thinking, does it really essential for me to buy a camera at this point of time, this pandemic time? No, because I'm not able to travel. I'm not going to go out of my home for any for my entertainment. So I don't need a camera right now. So if I am manufacturing more number of cameras during this pandemic, if I'm a company, if I have more, if I'm going to manufacture cameras, will I have a market now? Will I have a demand now?
No, sir.
No, because I'm not going to travel outside. The customers are not going to travel outside. So that's why you should know what to manufacture and how much to manufacture, when to manufacture. That's what we saw in the last two slides before, right? So a customer is should have a desire to for a product. He should be willing to buy the product, but at the same time he should have the income to buy the product. Okay, so that's what will determine what is the demand. Okay. Again, a customer will have say, when I say I want to buy a product, say for example, the same example, let's say the example of camera. You know that I wanted to buy a decent Canon camera, for example. Just for example, Canon is a well renowned brand in when I say cameras. But what I think is, instead of investing that much money on a camera of a 60,000, I have a similar variant in Nikon, which is giving for 10,000 or 5,000 less than that. Say for example, I'm getting a product for 50,000 in Nikon. I'll be able to make a small compromise there, and I'll go for Nikon cameras instead of Canon. Or sometimes even I go and go for Panasonic or Sony for whatever. So there are product has some variants also, right? So this will change my desire, or this may suddenly I may have a compromisation and say I want to go to buy a bike, Royal Enfield bike. This guy is asking me to wait for some time to get the product delivered. Then opposite I see a KTM showroom. Just like that, I walk into the KTM showroom, I buy a KTM bike, Duke or whatever, right? So this is what will determine that desire will be there, but sometimes some alterations are also there. So generally we can define demand as the desire to acquire something, the willingness to pay, the ability to pay. So this is what will happen. So I will give you one small example. Okay, so for a long time you wanted to buy a product. Okay, like let's say let's again come back to the very old example of buying an iPhone. Okay, being a student, your parents must not. I mean, most of your parents must not be giving you an iPhone because it's costly. Chances of missing or mishandling is high from you. So maybe, but so that you want, but you see all your friends having an iPhone. You wanted to buy the product. So from then what you get a job, and you get a very good job, and you're joining a job. So after receiving your first month's salary, you will have the desire to acquire. Okay, this month's salary I'll buy an iPhone for me. So desire to acquire. You are ready to pay. You have the willingness to pay, and now you have the, when you join a job, you have the ability to pay. But again, it depends upon the salary what you're getting. Say for example, you're getting a salary of 1 lakh a month. You don't mind. You straight go to the shop, you buy a decent iPhone for 60,000, 70,000. Okay, so now you have the ability to pay. So when you want to buy a product, you should have the desire to buy. Your willingness, you should have the willingness to pay, and you should also have the ability to pay. That is very, very important. Yet without ability of to pay, if you are buying, you can buy only using credit card, which is very bad, which is dangerous sometimes. Okay, so demand is desire to acquire, willingness to pay, and the ability to pay. So that is what is called as demand. So now you know what is demand. You got it?
Yes, sir.
Good. Okay. So without, when I say demand, I should be able to speak about supply. Okay. So demand is determined by the supply, or supply is determined by the demand. Both the ways we can take it. Okay. Demand is closely related to supply, and same applies to supply. Supply is also depending upon the demand. Okay, so you should please read these statements once so that you will understand my discussion easily. Please try to read these statements. Okay, the first point says that while consumers try to pay the lowest price they can for goods and services they get, suppliers try to maximize the profit. Okay, so how sometimes there are some products, say for example mangoes will go waste. I mean, after when it reaches the market, it should be sold within, because these are perishable goods. It can, so for perishable goods, normally what happens, the prices will be kept low so that more consumers will buy the product, and when they buy, more products are bought, what automatically the supplier or the manufacturer will get some profits, maximum profit. So more, when the price is low, when the prices are low, more customers are going to buy the product. Automatically, the profit made will also be high. Next, when the supplier, okay, when the supplier increases the price, what happens? What will happen? The demand, when the supplier increases the price, the demand comes down.
Will
Okay.
decrease.
Yeah, it increases. Okay, so that's what we discussed. Say for example, let's take the example of mangoes, because that's the summer season. Last month I think it over. Let's take the example of mangoes. When the cost of 1 kg of mango is 50 rupees, cost of mango is 50 rupees, the sales will be more, and automatically the profit made by the shopkeeper will be high. When the mango price is 200 rupees per kg, the demand decreases and the profit made will also be decreased. Okay, you got it? When the price increases, the sales will fall down, automatically the profit made will also be will be less. If suppliers charge too little, demand increases. That's true, but lower prices may not cover up supply costs. Okay, again there should be a trade-off. Normally there should be a trade-off. Say for example, I don't want to sell the mango instead of selling for 50 rupees, I am selling it for 25 rupees, and I have a I may have a good sales, but what happens over a period of time, both will saturate, so people will not will buy. There will be a buying, selling happen, there will be a demand and supply happening, but over a point of time they will saturate. Okay, so that is called as when they saturate, what happens, the supplier will not be able to bear the cost. Okay, I will give you another example. When just listen to this example. When the when the number of engineers produced in a country in India were less, the job opportunities were more. When the supply was less, the demand was more. Correct? You get this example?
Yes.
When the number of engineers produced in a country raised, the job market shrink, or it came down. So now we have more engineers but less jobs for the engineers. Okay, so now what happens? Many engineering colleges are now getting closed slowly, and now over a period of time, I expect by another 10 years, that supply of engineers will be equivalent to the supply of the demand will be equivalent to the job market. Okay, this will happen in some times. Okay, so but again, as someone told you, this depends upon the competition in the market. There will be, but some factors affecting the demand include appeal of good or services, the availability of competing goods, availability of financing, and I mean sometimes it will vary. It will vary. There will be some variations because of the product or the availability of competing goods. Say I will say one example. Let's take this example. We always use petrol. Okay, we are using petrol, but when you use petrol, we have any alternate for this petrol? Do we have an alternate for petrol?
No, sir.
No, no, because majority of the vehicles what we use is petrol or diesel. So we don't have any alternate for this. So that's why whenever the cost of the petrol is high, even it goes high, or the diesel price goes high, we have no other option. We are supposed to buy the product. But since we are buying, everyone is buying petrol, we can't say that petrol is having a very high demand. Correct? Everyone has to buy. There is no other option.
Yes.
Okay, so there are some cases we are buying the product because we have no alternate products to them in the market. So that's why we are. But since everyone is buying daily at least 1 liter of petrol, it doesn't, on an average, it doesn't mean that petrol is having high demand. It is mandatory. We have no other option. We have to buy it. Okay, so that is what we have to deal with. That's what it's all about, demand. Okay. Okay, I think we have got only one more minute. So I am posting a question in the forum, in the chat window. I think I have an issue with the internet. Are you able to look into my screen?
No, sir, not your screen.
No, sir.
Okay, just give me a second.
No, sir.
Okay, I'm just trying to create the form. you got the form. You can post your responses there. I just created a poll. You can submit your for attendance point of view. You can try to submit this. Okay.
So can we leave?
You can submit your answers. 33 people have submitted. Okay. Once you have submitted, you can also if you have any questions, meanwhile you can when you post the responses, when you have if you have any queries, I'll be happy to answer.
Excuse me, sir. Sir, it doesn't work for me, sir.
Hello.
Actually, excuse me, sir. This is Ankush here. Hello.
Yeah.
Sir, actually, it doesn't work for me. What you have created. I mean, previous session also, sir, it was not working. I mean, I'm unable to vote.
Tanai, yesterday also you have the same problem, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. This is a problem with me. Actually, I vote. I submit. I clicked on submit button, but it is not submitted.
Sir, I'm not even able to see that poll.
If you're done, you can sign off.
Sir, I'm not able to see that poll, sir, in that meeting chat box.
Come again. You.
I'm not able to see that poll, sir, in the chat box.
You go to the chat window, you will find it, sir.
Yes, sir, I am at the chat window only, sir. I'm not able to find it, sir. It's not there in my chat window, sir.
Okay. Just leave your in chat window. Just type your name. I'll take it.
Oh, okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Could you see my response, sir? I mean, my registration number is 17 PME 0571.
Sir, don't worry, sir. There are several modes of taking attendance. This is
Yes,
one of
sir.
the. I already taken your attendance. Don't worry about that.
Yes.
Sir, I have typed my name and register number in the chat box, sir.
Yeah.
Okay.
Daman.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Sir, I am unable to submit, sir. I posted my register number in chat, sir.
Okay, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Sir, if you're able to post. Don't just for sake of giving your registration number. Don't give me. If you're posted the attendance, just leave it. Don't again type your numbers in the chat window. Don't duplicate the jobs.